What is up, everybody? I'm No Lex Given, and happy Gwensday. Or should I say happy Gwenslay? As today we are going to be taking a look at a pair of sleigh characters with Gwen, Kitty Cutpurse and Feasting Dragon, two characters that I've featured before in previous Gwensday videos, but they're so strong and so much fun that I wanted to take another look at them in some sleigh-filled Gwensday action. And we start off by rolling the die into a happy little tree, which is a pretty good knighthood target in its own regard, and I really did think about knighthooding it as well. But Kitty Cutpurse is just a lot more fun. I think that if you can find the Kitty Cutpurse on turn 1 or turn 2, it's usually going to give you enough gold to just be worth an entire hero power out of. The actual uses for Happy Little Tree, I think, have definitely gone down a lot. It means that you typically then need to find, we do get our first sleigh there, pretty nice, first sleigh of many that are going to be happening in this video, and that's going to allow us to pick up a shrink spell and 4 more characters this turn, which is pretty good, grabbing some nice econ out of that Kitty Cutpurse. But the only real ways that you're able to make Happy Little Tree really work, to circle back around to that point, is basically you need some creepers once you hit level 3. Well, level 4 you probably want some Heartwood Elders, but the big thing was you used to build that into Shoulder Fairies once you hit level 5. And Shoulder Fairies doesn't really have the same oomph that it used to. So it's kind of an awkward strategy, but we are going for a Kitty Cutpurse this game, and we're going to get another sleigh this turn, so things are going pretty well. Now we do have that Darkwood Creeper to make use of the Happy Little Tree, and I even see an interesting opportunity here to use a Baby Root to support our Kitty Cutpurse, and then use that to potentially get some additional buffs off the Darkwood Creeper as well. So it seemed like a cool idea. We're going to go for it. We're going to see what we can do, and then I'm going to sell off this Bossy and pick up a Polywoggle. Sometimes just putting something in the back line is enough to allow it to slay, and I figured maybe we could get some fun action with a Polywoggle here. We're going to get that Kitty Cutpurse slaying and growing with the Darkwood Creeper, so a really good start to this turn. We will wind up taking some damage, is what I meant to say, and not slaying with the Polywoggle. But still, we're up in XP now, thanks to that lucky Genie's Wish hitting the Turkish Delight, and we've even got some bonus econ this turn. So I think we're doing pretty well off, all things considered. I'll pick up a Mad Mim just to try to slay a few more times with this Kitty Cutpurse. If we can slay going into our 4.0, I think that's ultimately just going to be really good for us. And then I'm going to pick up a pair of pairs. I'll pick up a Polywoggle and another Creeper so that we could potentially build into some treasures as well. But I feel pretty strong here. We're kind of like setting up to do some cool stuff in the future, but also like reasonably strong for this turn, getting to play this 6-14. It's quite a large unit. I think that'll be enough to allow us to battle with this Queen of Hearts. Just barely going to be able to take my opponent out there. I guess we had another Darkwood Creeper in the back line. Maybe we're doing all right here. So now I'm going to be looking for another Creeper or another Polywoggle, especially on 4.0. If we can slay with that, that would be really awesome. And I'm also noticing Bounty Board here with Feasting Dragon and River Wish Mermaid in this shop. And I told you this is going to be a sleigh-filled video. It's not going to disappoint. We're going to lock onto another River Wish Mermaid shortly after that. If you thought that Kitty Cutpurse was the only character that we were slaying with, you were sorely mistaken. But I think this is like the Polywoggle might not slay here, but the Feasting Dragon probably will. The Kitty Cutpurse is also questionable. And then I'm also keeping in the Creeper as a way to potentially grow this Feasting Dragon early on and potentially grab more sleighs out of it. We're going to get a really, really unlucky hit with our Polywoggle there that is going to mean that we really don't get any sleighs that whole combat. We got one sleigh from the Happy Little Tree. But that was it. So not the best use of our slaying characters. Probably not going to be playing Kitty Cutpurse for that much longer this game, but it still got us to here. And that's like the important thing to recognize, and definitely still super happy with the performance of that. I think I probably will have to sell it off at this point. That way I can hang onto the pair of creepers and pick up this Lightning Dragon. Lightning Dragon, River Wish Mermaid, Bounty Board. That's the combo. That's the dream. So that's what we're going to be moving into a little bit. And I told you guys that this was a game, or a video rather, featuring Kitty Cutpurse and Feasting Dragon. This is going to be 2 separate games. We're going to look at a whole separate Gwensday game after this one. Same video featuring Feasting Dragon. But this one also is going to feature some dragons, and when you pick up the bounty board and have some early XP, of course, Feast and Dragon is going to seem pretty good in that capacity. Another not so great hit for our Polywoggle, and even more awkward is the Ring of Meteors takes out my Lightning Dragon, but luckily we don't gift any extra XP to my opponent there off their Wish Upon a Star. Pick up an Evil Eye, and that'll be really good for us. Now our River Wish Mermaid is double supporting everything. So while we haven't gotten a huge bounty from it yet, if we manage to, we will, if we manage to grab a Slay, we will be able to start grabbing some real cashola from that, and then I'm just going to roll it down for the rest of the turn. But if Lightning Dragon can slay, that's plus 2 gold. And then if Feasting Dragon can slay, that is going to be plus 3 gold off that one. So with the fact that we have got our first attack here, thanks to the Hermes Magic Beans, we should be just getting 5 bonus gold this turn going into 5.0. And then hanging on to the Polywoggle, maybe because we're going into 5.0. Unfortunately, my opponent has an Earthquake, so that is going to deny us a little bit of gold, a little bit awkward, and then we will wind up taking a little bit more damage here as we don't really have too much else to do. We take 11, but down to 18. Still feeling pretty good about our chances this game. And though our Lightning Dragon has not been able to slay yet, we get to give it a decent chance to slay in the future by tripling it and turning it into a 23-25 with the pickup of this Moonsong Horn. I'm gonna go with the Moonsong Horn just because I didn't really feel like I would be able to make too much use out of a Forking Rod still yet. Maybe it was wrong. I could have double cast this roll the die here, but I'm just going to wind up selling off my creepers after that to pick up Lancelot. And also the additional stats like on the Polywoggle, those could potentially be fun. Mad Mim is giving plus 6 attack as well, thanks to the Evil Eye, so maybe this Polywoggle can slay and do something cool, but if it doesn't slay this turn, we are going to have to watch our health total, and we might not be able to play it in future turns, and it's not going to be able to slay, so I'm probably not going to hang on to it for it too much longer, because we are going to take 9 and go down to 9 here, so we don't really want to lose again, so I definitely like to smarten up. Let's just try to play a little bit stronger of Storybook Brawl going forward, and I think that this was a pretty good turn for us, all things considered. I'll finish it off by casting a Beauty's Influence on our newly picked up Baba Yaga. One of the cool things that that can do if we wind up finding ourselves in like a good boy comp or something, then we will have a good Baba Yaga already, which is nice. And a bunch of different potential, even if we still don't have to win this combat, but if we can survive this combat, we're going to have a bunch of gold going into future turns now that we have some really good supports. We are building also into the Horn of Olympus out of Lancelot, and like I said, Horn is now a lot easier to find, so that might definitely be a possibility here. We are going to see the Slay with Lightning Dragon, we are going to see the Slay with Lancelot, but we do see the Slay with our Feasting Dragon as well, so, and the Happy Little Tree, that also gets a Slay. And we are going to wind up losing this combat, but we only take 7, down to 2, I can deal with that. it means I probably don't want to try to make this Polywoggle work anymore. That's probably just a little bit too greedy, but you might notice we've got a ton of gold to make use of this turn. I'm going to Queen's Blessing on the Hercules. That'll put that up to 24 attack, and we'll make that activate if we can just grab a one sleigh off of our Lancelot. So things are looking pretty good here, despite being a little bit silly. And I think that we definitely have an option to potentially turn this game around. We are playing up against the lobby leader, so things are a little bit dicey, but we are able to pick up a Baba Yaga this turn. Then I also pick up a Feasting Dragon. I'm not going to lock that other Feasting Dragon though, so I don't know why I even picked up this one. It was probably a waste of gold, but do we have enough stats to not die this turn? Lightning Dragon in slot 1 is going to be really good for us. Then Lancelot is going to activate. So things are looking good. Actually, Lancelot seemed to have activated already because my opponent had an Eye of Ares, so that's going to help us get in all of these sleighs as well, and it means that we actually walk away from this combat with a win against the lobby leader. And we get a tier 5 treasure. That is not going to be Horn of Olympus, but we do have a little bit of a reprieve here playing up against the Ghost. So I'll go ahead and pick up the Feasting Dragon triple, and maybe we can do some wacky stuff with the rest of our turn here still. We've got a bunch of extra gold to roll down, so I'm looking for Baba Yagas, I'm looking for Jormungand's. We're going to find the Baba Yaga. That's going to give us the Horn of Olympus, so I'll toss the other horn for this real one. Then I'll pick up a Lancelot just because we've got the cash, and maybe we could find a Mimic Chest off of that, and then I'll roll down trying to find Jormungand. And I think we can play Hercules here up against the Ghost. It's a little bit tricky because I also kind of want to play the Jormungand and I want to play the Feasting Dragon. Like, I want to play all of these cards because we can scale and slay all of these cards, but I think that ultimately, eventually, I am going to cut the Feasting Dragon. Again, don't really know why I tripled it other than the fact that it was here. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal for us. But yeah, just a little bit of a weird play. Hercules is going to stick around and grab a sleigh, so as long as one of these other characters attacks into Hercules, we will be able to grab a tier 6 treasure this turn. Then we'll also have a ton of extra cash here, thanks to the Evil Eye and the Horn of Olympus. Basically like a Holy Grail this turn. I'm going to take Phoenix Feather, main reason being I'm at 3 health, and I really don't want to push it. And then I'll pick up an Empress P, and right now I'm just rolling for Jormungand's and Empress P's. That's the whole ball game here, and that's really the only way that we make this board better in any capacity. And this is also our main turn to do it, because after this turn we will no longer have access to Bounty Board, which is something that I realized, but I thought that the risk was worth it here of potentially not finding it, because we are going to have so much gold to make these rolls. And then I'm going to take an Ivory Owl. Actually didn't remember doing that, but that was just such a quick turn that I just had to select a treasure really quickly there. And I felt like Ivory Owl could potentially help me slay. We can see the +2 allows it to, I guess it wouldn't have actually changed any breakpoints there, but regardless, our Empress P gets to slay, which is an insane amount of stats. Unfortunately, we no longer have access to the Bounty Board this turn, so we're not going to be getting a whole bunch of cash this turn, but we are going to be getting a kill onto the Fates with an absolutely massive Jormungand here. But to talk about those treasure selections last turn, obviously I was a little bit pressed for time because this was a little bit of a stressful game here down to the wire at the end. What I probably should have done there is taken the Singing Swords as my tier 6 treasure. Now, obviously I want Evil Eye, but Singing Sword, the Singing Sword in particular, I think is a pretty good backup just because that extra 15 attack onto Empress P, onto all of my characters, could be that little push that they need to actually make a slay. Now, Empress P is at 156 attack, probably didn't need it. However, that's just going to be a huge amount of stats if we can get the slay. So it's hugely important. And there's like a chance if my opponent had like a, what's it called? World Tree here that I wasn't able to slay, but I'm able to slay. This board's absolutely insane. Empress P is going to slay and stick around. So that's going to be a ton of stats. Jormungand goes up to like 4k here or something whenever that decides to stop. Yeah, pretty insane. And then Lancelot is also going to get in there and double it once again, and then it'll go up to about 6,000 or 5,000. We'll stop there as we take out the Pied Piper. We had just enough. As long as only one of our characters died, we actually got to take out the Pied Piper this turn and then finish off the game by finding a lucky Pigomorph. And rather than pick up another Jormungand or another Empress P, I'm just going to roll down for the rest of the turn, trying to find another Pigomorph for the next turn. Wind up just picking up a golden chicken. That's about the same as well. But a really, really sweet game. Empress P up to 300 attack. Pretty crazy. And honestly, I think that the next game is a little bit better. It's arguable. Both of these games are really sweet. I do want to say that I played the next game I'm about to show you. That one I actually played first, but I'm deliberately switching the order here because I think the next one's even cooler. You can be the judge. Let me know which one of these you think is cooler. And Empress P with 300 attack is a pretty big game and winds up being quite powerful for us. And by the way, my opponent's got nothing here. We are way bigger than the rest of this lobby. We definitely have gone off in this one. Again, they're not going to take out a single one of our characters other than the one that they scammed in the back row, and that's going to be enough to find a win. And that was a game with Kitty Cutpurse. It might not seem that powerful to just knighthood a Kitty Cutpurse, but that gave us 2 extra gold for 3 turns in the early game. That's enough to do a lot with, and I think definitely worth the knighthood, and I think that that game showcases it well. That was actually my 500th crown as well. I kind of stopped caring about the crowns too much because when you play Storybook Brawl duels, your count gets a little bit wonky, but this is going to be our 499th crown. These were both back-to-back Gwen games, so I figured I would showcase them here. And I'm actually, speaking of showing things out of order, I'm actually sitting on one more Gwen game that is going to be my video next Gwensday, 1 week from now, if we can get to 900 subscribers by that time. It's like 10 more that I need to hit 900, but I wanted to save that video for my 900 subscriber special. Let's not detract from this video, but it might be, it's awesome. It's going to be really cool. Let's get to 900 subscribers. You aren't going to want to miss that one. We're doing pretty well here to start things off, other than the fact that we just gifted a upgraded Polywoggle to Wonderwaddle. That could be scary, but it's not my problem. I'm going to pick up a Lonely Prince and a Cinderella and then fire off a Genie's Wish, and that's going to give me a Mad Mim. Pretty good free spell to grab off of that, but yeah, I figured it would be okay. I'm trying out one other lineup option there, by the way. I don't actually think it's terrible, but ultimately I'm going to go for this, double supporting the Black Cat. I think that this is probably the best way to go here. And we're going to hang onto our knighthood a little bit longer in this one. Like I said, we're going to be knighthooding a Feasting Dragon, and this isn't going to be one of those games where we get the knighthooded Feasting Dragon on like 3.0. Those games are absolutely ridiculous. This is just going to be a knighthooded Feasting Dragon on 4.0, which I think is still like really good in its own regard. And like I said, this game was played first, and on 3.0 right now, I'm actually considering using knighthood on Kitty Cutpurse. I'm just going to wind up going with the magic research and holding off on my knighthood, but it's definitely a consideration when the fact that we've got this upgraded Mad Mim plus the Hermes sandals, almost said Hermes boots, Hermes magic sandals to ensure first attack. I thought that would be a cool little avenue to play a game here, but yeah, I still think that the sandals can do some nice stuff for us down the line. They're good in sleigh comps. They're obviously going to be very good once we pick up that Feasting Dragon as well, so that is part of the plan here. And while I don't typically go for a gingerbread party, I thought it looked good to flip over my Cindy, and then from there, I'm going to go for Big Book of Spells. There is some interesting consideration for Skip's Puzzle Rune when you already have one treasure and you're potentially making another out of your Black Cat, but I went for the Big Book of Spells primarily for one reason, and a lot going on this turn. We'll talk through some of it in a second. Mostly just the fact that I was debating like which characters I wanted to keep and sell as I picked up the Water Wraith here, which we're going to double support with Black Cats. So I thought this would be a strong enough lineup. My opponent looking pretty big with a rather large Happy Little Tree, going to be able to do us in, but we only take 4 damage, first damage of the game, not a big deal. But the reason that I go for Big Book of Spells is it would be really, really cool to find a Mix-a-Whistle to go along with this Knighthood. That's how I've gotten those early upgraded Feasting Dragons in some previous videos, and I thought that that could be a pretty strong thing to do. Debate picking up the goats there, would have gone for it had I picked up the Puzzle Rune already, but we don't have the Puzzle Rune, so my plan was to skip on this treasure as well and then pick up the Mummy. Kind of wind up regretting that, to be totally honest. The fact that we are going into 4.0 next turn, and I have the Hermes boots, and I have the Knighthood, I should have recognized how good that Dragon's Nest would have been with Feasting Dragon, which is, of course, the character that we already know I'm going to be Knighthooding on on this game. Now, part of the trick with Gwen is I don't know what I'm going to Knighthood when the video starts, of course, and I play a lot around my 4.0 and 3.0 turns because it's much more powerful to utilize your Knighthood early on in the level because then you're just getting much more use out of it. You can see I debate going for a Knighthood on Greedy there, but then when I see a pair of Feasting Dragons and I've got just enough cash to sell 2 things, pick them up, and then use this Knighthood on the Feasting Dragons, that's looking a little bit too good to pass up here. So that is looking strong enough for me. Just going to sell off this Cindy and this Frog Prince, and I'll pick up the Feasting Dragon and throw that Knighthood on it immediately, and I'm super happy to go for that. A Feasting Dragon on 4.0 upgraded with the boots is still quite good. We are going to be playing up against Skip, so there's a chance that Skip will have some bigger characters themselves. I still think that this should be quite strong, and then we get our second attack in with Stag potentially, though that is going to get attacked into by Medusa, but some good ideas there. My opponent has another backline Medusa. They're going to use that to take out our statues, but that means we get another Slay with Feasting Dragon. So already the characters in our shop have +4/+4 from that turn, and then an additional +1/+1 from that gingerbread party on a few turns ago. So things are looking pretty good, and from here we're going to try to play some similar things as we did last game. It's just really well set up to pick up the gingerbread party plus a lightning dragon and a river wish mermaid here. The main trick with river wish mermaid is that it just allows us to keep scaling our upgraded feasting dragon and then keep scaling everything else and ultimately just be super powerful for us. So yeah, I thought that this was really strong. There is some consideration to switching the order of all of these characters here, as you can see, but then the lightning dragon isn't next to the water wraith. But I still think that this is worth it, just so that way our upgraded Feasting Dragon gets to attack sooner and that much more often. So that was the idea here. We did crack open a secret stash against May there, trying to set up some crystal ball shenanigans. And from here, I don't really need to get more powerful right this second, but Doubly seemed like a really cool character to try to pick up, because I knew I was also going to want to pick up Sporkos and Lady of the Lakes, so all of this just seemed really good. I probably should have gone for the Shrink spell. It was a pretty awkward thing to not see that there, because we've got the big book of spells. Could have made, basically, it just would have made the econ work out a little bit better, that we could have sold both of our benched characters and also picked up this doubly, and then we're potentially building into a triply. Now that we didn't do that, it's a little bit awkward to try to go back and do so, but I think that we are still in a good spot with the rest of our stuff. I also don't want to lock onto this doubly, by the way, because next turn we're on 5.0. And I'm going to want to find a Lancelot and activate that, try to find Horn of Olympus, and just spend as much gold as I can trying to pick up tier 4 characters as well, so that way we can find the Evil Eye potentially. And Feasting Dragon is a great tier 4 character to pick up. Super happy about that one. In 1814, thanks to all of the scaling that I've got this game. Could pick up a Wombats in Disguise. It is definitely large and works well with Sporko and Lady of the Lake, but ultimately, I think it's probably just a waste of time. And then I wind up tripling Feasting Dragon and finding Evil Eye. So pretty powerful stuff here. My bigger Feasting Dragon doesn't really need Sporko. So we could switch around my Sporko and Lady of the Lake, but I just wind up rolling and lock here because it's got a lucky coin. It's free to lock onto. But I also really have to consider 9 Sea Terror. Main reason being that right now, I'm really, really well set up if I can find a Horn of Olympus, because I've got the Evil Eye, I've got the boots, we're just slaying and scaling this board very, very nicely, and overall just really, really strong. My opponent can't even take out my characters with their Lightning Dragon. So yeah, this is going well for me. We're going to get 2 more slays with Feasting Dragons this turn, so just continuing to make our shops insanely large for us, and that'll allow us to take out the Grandmother, and from there have to decide if I want to pick up 9 Sea Terror, but I'm going to go for it. It's a pretty big character as well. Basically anything that I buy is quite large at this point. Could take another Feasting Dragon, which we see is pretty big here as well. Definitely have to consider it. There's only a few turns left in this game, as you can see how much work we are putting in against the rest of the lobby. So I don't actually remember if I take this Feasting Dragon there. Okay, it looks like I don't. We see a Mix-a-Whizzle, then after that, I'll use that on the 9 Sea Terror. Don't really know why I did, other than the fact that we're running out of gold, and then could even take a Polywoggle at this point in the game. Just because it's a 17-17, like, I don't know, it just seems good. You'll probably slay with it and then have a tier 6 character next turn. But another way to grab some tier 6 characters for next turn is, of course, just to buy some XP. Super happy to pick that up, and Lightning Dragon, I'm going to do some work. One of my Lightning Dragons gets scammed, then the other one does as well, but we still have more than enough stats to win this combat. So yeah, kind of just crazy here. We hit skip for 9, and now we are level 6, and we've got to find some characters, and Empress P seems like a rather insane pickup here. We'll throw that in front of the Sporko and the Lady of the Lake. Still need to find that horn, but ultimately we're just doing really, really well off this game. So looking nice. I'm going to feed my Mad Mim to the Kraken. That'll give me a little bit of extra cash to roll around this turn. Not sure I wind up doing anything with that. I guess I could pick up a Tripoli here. Not that I really need tier 4 or tier 3 treasures. I kind of just want more Empress Ps. I feel like that is going to be one of the best things that we can pick up at this point. So wind up just keep on rolling. I do think a 21 attack Medusa could also potentially be good for us, but I'm going to find some higher level characters at this point and try to find some sweet action with that. We are going to get slays with both of our dragons, and Empress P doesn't have a River Wish Mermaid behind it, so it's not slaying. We do give May some bonus stats in their shop, but we also give them a bunch of damage, so they gone. And then we see the actual comp that we get to play in this one. We've got plus 22 on everything right now. So we can pick up this 24 good boy. That's kind of insane, and then it'll pass all of those stats onto Empress P, and yeah, just ultimately be super strong for us. And then I'm also going to take Lancelot. Maybe that could find us Horn of Olympus in this game, and then I'm also going to go ahead and Dream. And Muerte. pretty insane when you've got the option to double up a huge good boy buff like that. Now all of my characters are going to get plus 64 plus 24 plus 24 again. They are, or plus 48 rather. The good boy's just big enough that I felt like it could probably slay with the River Wish Mermaid there. So go for the slay, not quite going to hit, was short by 5, so could have got there with the Sporko, but importantly, all of those stats are going to go onto the Empress P, and then the Empress P is going to give all of those stats onto my support characters. So that's going to be more than big enough. We are going to grab a treasure from Lancelot here, and hopefully that's the Horn of Olympus. It is. So we'll pick that up, tossing our big book of spells. I'm going to hang on to the sandals. We just saw that that Horde Dragon was also a Slayer with some pretty good treasures. So that might be our finals opponent. And I'd love to have first attack up against them. Now we can play this Sporko and this Good Boy, and maybe now Good Boy can slay. We've got some really powerful options that we're building into right now, and I'm just hoping to find Baba Yaga and Good Boy, and yeah, we find exactly what we're looking for on this turn. Pretty crazy. I'm going to sell off my whole bench so that I can pick up Baba Yaga and Good Boy, and now, even if my first Good Boy doesn't slay, it will die. It will give plus 76 plus 48 to my second Good Boy, and that one should be able to slay. So we are looking quite strong here. My first Good Boy not going to slay, but my second Good Boy will. So that is a few more bonus stats for the rest of my team. All of those stats don't go onto my backline supports, but they do go onto Empress P, which means that once Empress P gets taken out, assumedly not by Medusa, alright, it is able to dodge the Medusa, then all of my backline characters are going to get those stats, hopefully a little bit earlier in future combats, and we can avoid the scam. But even if we can get scammed once, we've only lost one combat this whole game. Is that right? We're at 36 health. So feeling pretty good. This was definitely one of the more powerful games with Gwen that I've had. And putting together this Good Boy Slay comp, I always think is just a little bit more fun than the alternative, the just normal Slay comp. When you can actually start slaying with Good Boys, this always feels really powerful. And this game, by the way, definitely influenced that first game. It also influenced, speaking of influence, the Beauty's influence that I used in that first game to turn one of the Baba Yagas good. But sadly, we don't have one this time. That was part of what I was hoping to find with that Drink Me potion. But a Merlin's Test to grab some additional stats on the Good Boy, so that way those can be slain seemed pretty decent as well. We're going to have our characters die in an awkward order here. Empress P dying first is still enough stats that my backline is huge, so it's not enough to worry about up against the Ghost, but awkwardly there, my Good Boy was just a little bit too big, so kind of funny. But now we are up against our Slay finals opponent, and for that I'll pick up another Empress P. It does increase our chances of a non-Good Boy dying first, and I also really consider here picking up a Soul Tack. I know that my opponent is on Slay. They didn't have any dragons the last time we played against them, and honestly, I felt like my opponent and I this game had a unspoken agreement that we weren't going to try to mess with each other's backline. We were both going to play Slay and just try to play as sweet of stuff as we possibly could. I'm going to cast a Ride of the Valkyrie as my spell for the turn, just to give my Good Boys a little bit more oomph, a little bit more chances at slaying here. And then we'll see what happens. You know, whatever happens, happens. My opponent has the Jormungand. Our Good Boy isn't going to get the Slay, but we are going to have a really big second Good Boy and then a really big Empress P. It's just going to be a matter of, well, my opponent's backline being potentially smaller, but they've got an upgraded Empress P. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. My opponent with a Jormungand up in the thousands is going to be kind of tough to take down. We actually wind up just barely taking down the Jormungand and then losing to their backline. So we've got some work to do still. I think the Lightning Dragon would be really good here. It slays and would take out anything in my opponent's backline, and then we could put in the Jormungand. Honestly, if we just did all that, we probably would have won this one. But it just seemed so sweet to try to play the good boy angle for as much as I could. When you can put this comp together, you just gotta go for it, right? So we're just playing the good boy angle of things. Also, like, I could just play the Medusa. Like, it's a much stronger board for me if I just take Lightning Dragon, Medusa, and then double Jormungand, and that's my whole front line. I probably can't lose, but let's try to make this work. I barely or briefly consider cutting the River Wish Mermaid before realizing that that's kind of my whole comp, and that would be a terrible idea. So we're just gonna see what we can do with this double good boy, double Empress P. If I lose a few more combats, so be it. We only have to win one. So we'll see what we can do here. My Empress P is going to slay, and then my second Empress P is a 50-50 to slay. So reasonable chance that it can do so. That does make my opponent's backline rather big. Mine turns big as well, but this is going to be a close one. Mine's a little bit bigger than theirs. Again, we're able to take out the Jormungand, and we take 12 in the process. And I locked onto another Jormungand here, and I'll pick it up, but what I really wanted was Good Boy, and actually get lucky enough to just find the Good Boy. And then I'm going to skip on this treasure because we already have the treasures that we want, and I will just cast this Smite. It's not super likely to be relevant, but whatever. Our pact is broken. I'm just going to cast the Smite. But the important thing here is now we have an upgraded 110 Good Boy that's attacking first with Hermes, Magic Sandals, and it's Muerte'd. So that is going to give a ton of stats to the Empress Ps. Whether it slays or not, that's going to be huge, and we even get a little bit of a scam with the Smite. And the combat works out really well for me. I slay with the Good Boy, and then it gets attacked into, which is awkward because my opponent's Empress P is then going to go off. But then both of my Empress Ps get to go off and make some absolutely massive units here. My opponent slays with their Lancelot, so they're looking pretty big, but we are going to slay with our Empress P, and then we are going to have an absolutely massive backline that should be able to take out my opponents. And they've got a big backline too, with their Empress P eventually dying, but we've got enough stats that we were able to find the win. I was never worried. I knew that we could do it eventually. I just thought it would be so sweet to Muerte, a Good Boy that is over 100 power. There's like so few times that you get to do that, so I had to go for it. But believe me you, next week's Gwensday video is going to be even sweeter, so really looking forward to that one. Thank you guys very much for watching and for all of your support. That is going to be it for me today. I'm No Lex Given. Peace.